not true. So if Gandhiji was very, very particular about, and the place where I am sitting, from where I am at this talking, Gandhiji once came to this place, but very few people know about it. We have mentioned it in our documentaries. We met on folk songs, Gandhi and folk songs, and there we I have mentioned it clearly that Gandhiji came when there was the first Congress in Gaya district of Congress party. So then Gandhiji came to this place along with Dr. Fazlul Haq. Those two were going from here to, they were coming from Patna to Gaya. So they stayed here for some time. Gandhiji stayed here for some time, tea and all that. So Gandhiji, when you talk about the human rights, Gandhiji always talk about the duty.
Hello.
What are the duties of yes, what are the duty of the human being? What he was to do, what he should not. So today is the day when we celebrate human, National Human Rights Day because it's the International Human Rights Day because on the international platform today is the day when the human rights of the people were accepted globally that is, and it was decided that yes, there will be a day it will be celebrated as the International Human Rights Day. And in India, we started National Rights Day when we established the National Human Rights Commission, today on 10th of December. So the Society for Empowerment in consultation with all the people, all the members decided to have a webinar on this issue topic. Because what happens that most of the time we are aware of our rights, what are the constitutional rights, what are fundamental rights, what are human rights, all that. But we never talk of human duty. That this is our responsibility that there should be a proper properly everything should be in order from government side and should have similar responsibility from people side. So this is seldom talked. So Gandhiji, when he was in South Africa, he first of all talked about the human duty. So when first of all, when he was traveling in the higher class, when by train in South Africa, and he was thrown out of the train by the British because he was black man. So he started talking about that. Then he first time he mentioned there that yes, this is my right that I should travel with the uh, travel all these kind of travelers in the same compartment. Then I bought the ticket. But at the same time, it is also my duty to see that the poor travelers are not disturbed. They do not get disturbed. So if they have told me out, that is a different issue, I will talk on that. But my emphasis is on my duty. What should have been my duty? Why I have been thrown out of the train? All that is talked and we have also mentioned when we talk about biography. So taking clue from that, today what is happening that we are claiming that this is our right. This is this should this should happen. But we do not claim that this is our duty. Say for example, uh, a school, whether it is a private school or a government school, any school in which children are going for education. So there the teachers think that it is his right to teach the student in his or her own way. But then there are certain guidelines for teachers. to follow it, but seldom they follow it and they do it like that. So we should be very careful. This is one example, but in day-to-day life we find several examples when we go to market, when we go to institution, that consider that citizens are what are our duties. That is really important to reclaim our rights. So this is the subject of discussion that what we should do and what we should not do. So I'm very much thankful to Dr. who has come for this discussion, and Professor Pandey and Professor Sri Anil Pandeyji and my colleague Professor Krishnarajji from Bangalore. So I welcome you all in this program and hope that we will have some fruitful discussion on it. So I request, first of all, Dr. Dr. Sahab to begin his presentation, and then uh, I will come to Sri Anil Pandey. Dr. Sahab, please.
Mic is muted. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Uh, Today is 10th December 2023, and as you can see, the National Human Rights Commission was founded in 1993. So it's 30 years, exactly 30 years, that NHRC has been functioning in India, 30 years. So, Professor Narayan and my esteemed colleagues, Pandey sir, Dr. Krishnaraj, Professor of Institute for Social and Economic Change from Bangalore, and my esteemed listeners. I have been very intimately connected with the National Human Rights Commission, very intimately. The first chairman of the NHRC was Justice Ranganath Mishra. And Justice Ranganath Mishra was very enough to come to the All India Institute of Medical Sciences when I had organized a program on iodine deficiency disorders. So he was very kind. He was the first chairman of NHRC. The second chairman was Justice Venkatchelaya. And I want to share that even till date, I'm in touch with him. He's in Bangalore and he must be 97 years. Whenever I give him a call, he picks up the phone. Then the honorable members, Sri Yogesh Dayal, who represented, was with the United Nations. He was a member. Then the first Secretary General of NHRC, Mr. R.V. Pillai, was our family friend. We recently lost him. I was in regular touch with Mr. Pillai. And then we had someone from the police. I forget the name. So can you help me to remember who was from police background? He was involved in the Allahabad High Court when the judgment went against Indira Gandhi. Anyway, Sir Pandey sir, do you remember he was from the IPS background?
No, no, I'm IS.
No, no, I know, but the person I'm talking from NHRC.
Acha, yeah, was he from Orissa? I have interacted. In fact, I was IG Prisons when Mr. Rangnath Mishra was heading NHRC, and he came over to Bihar and this area, other than Jharkhand, and he visited some of the jails, particularly Chaibasa jail. In fact, his father was our teacher in Jilai school in Chaibasa. So he visited these areas and gave his observation, and those were the days when there was incident of overcrowding in jails. And
Yeah.
thanks to his directions, the situation eased out because additional, accommodation was made available, and a new building came up, and he took a lot of interest, in fact, in for welfare of prisoners in and so many other areas to protect human rights. So
Okay.
that is what I remember. I met him and I interacted with him as well as with Mr. Dayal, one who was with UNO as Under
United Nations.
Secretary General.
Yeah, he's still there. We are in touch, sir. I want to share with you that I'm in regular touch with Mr. Daya. But
Okay, okay.
as I told you, Mr. Pillai was the first Secretary General. He came from Assam cadre. He was from Kerala, but he was an IS officer from Assam cadre. He was the first Secretary General, and we are very good family friends. But we lost him just
Mm-hmm.
3 months back. Now,
Okay.
I want to express my gratitude first to the defense forces, which I always do. We are able to sleep at night peacefully because they are awake 24 hours. तो मैं उनको धन्यवाद देता हूँ आर्मी एयरफोर्स नेवी. My second gratitude go to my fellow physicians, the COVID-19 warriors. In the first phase, 700 doctors lost their life, and the second phase, 750 lost their life. There is a poem I remember, sir, from my school called Charge of the Light Brigade. It was by Alfred Tennyson, and the poem's name was Into the Valley of Death Rode the 600. The doctors knew that the risk they were taking in terms of serving the COVID 19 patients, but they still took that service to humanity. So I want to express my gratitude to them. Then in the afternoon, I interacted with Subhash, and I wanted to request him to pay to play Gandhiji's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jana. Subhash, can you please play the bhajan?
जाने रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए रे पीड़ पराई जाने रे पर दुखे उपकार रे
Subhash, thank you so much. You did a beautiful job in sharing the Vaishnava Jana Bhajan. Professor Narayan, I'm so blessed and so fortunate. My life has been very deeply associated with Mahatma Gandhi. The first one is I went to school in 1963 to 69. I spent 6 years at Aga Khan Palace, Ahmednagar Road. As you know, Mahatma Gandhi was imprisoned there in 1942 when he said quit India. Then overnight he was brought from Mumbai to Pune and he spent his time in Aga Khan Palace. So I spent 6 years there. The second personal point I want to share with you, Mahadev Bhai Desai, whom Bapuji treated like his son. His nephew was my batchmate at MBBS at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, Sukumar Desai. In Aga Khan Palace, we have Samadhi of Kasturba Gandhi and Mahadeva Desai. So I spent my formative years in Aga Khan Palace. My next association with Bapuji was Gopal Krishna Gandhi and myself. Gopal Krishna Gandhi was the honorary member of the India International Center, and I want to say with all humility, I am the next honorary member of India International Center. The next point I want to share with you in 30 January mark, where Bapuji was assassinated in 1948, 30th January, I spent a lot of time on that campus, lot of time when I was studying at All India Institute of Medical Sciences. My next association was travel to Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. As a part of my program on iodine deficiency, I visited Purvi Champaran and Paschim Champaran and interacted with the farmers' families who were concerned with the growth of indigo. The next point, I didn't realize, my esteemed colleagues, that my career would be on salt and iodized salt. Salt for freedom, iodized salt for freedom from brain damage. I spent 45 years on problem of iodine deficiency disorders. I studied at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, and in 2021, the government of India, in recognition of my contribution to elimination of iodine deficiency disorders from India, confirmed Padma Shri in 2021. So, right from the National Human Rights Commission, Justice Raghunath Mishra, Justice Venkatacharya, Mr. Yogesh Dayal, Mr. R.B. Pillai, there was another one, I, Ezekiel. Mr. Ezekiel was also working in NHRC. He is a Jew, and the only synagogue in Delhi is the one which he runs behind Taj Hotel in Khan Market. So very deep, sustained, long-term association with Bapuji, his associates, and his families. Rajkumari Amrutkar spent many years at Wardha, and she was the first woman cabinet minister, first health minister, and she was responsible for foundation of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in 1956. Dr. Sushila Nair was our health minister. So look at see the personalities that were closely associated. I had a chance and I blessed to be interacted with them. The only thing I want to say about Bapuji was Satya or Ahimsa. truth and non-violence, strong weapons for confronting anybody, any society, any mighty power. You use that against the Britishers, Satya or Ahimsa, Satyagraha, and also the famous Dandi Yatra, again to deal with salt, which he took in 1930. So I'm very blessed and very pleased and very proud to be associated with various aspects of Bapuji's life. I've also sent my presentation, Subhaji. Uh, there are 31 points I want to cover, but I'll just run through the titles of the points. Otherwise, we'll run out of it. Mahatma Gandhi, whose full name you all know was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He was a prominent leader of the Indian independence, born on 2nd October 1969 at Porbandar, which is in Gujarat. Gandhiji studied law in England and initially worked as a lawyer in South Africa, where he became involved in civil rights. And then he practiced his philosophy of non-violent resistance, which he termed as Satyagraha. Bapuji then came back to India, and because of tireless efforts, it continued in India getting independence on August 15, 1947. Unfortunately, the independence was marred by the very tragic partition of India and Pakistan. Very tragic story, experience for Indians even today. Gandhiji's legacy extends beyond Indian boundaries. Martin Luther King actually, President Nelson Mandela, whom I had an opportunity to meet in Dhaka, Bangladesh, all practice the Gandhian philosophy. Now, currently, what is relevant in modern India, what Bapuji had preached and practiced was Gram Swaraj. The Block Development Office, Pandey was established by Balwant Rai Mehta in 1954. Now we are slowly coming back to the full circle to the same thing to reactivate the block development. BDO, Pathshala, Rangashala, Gaishala, Goshala, Vyayamshala. So there is a great movement that is currently taking place. Uh, Dr. Tauri, Pandesar, you must be knowing him, Dr. Tauri from UP
Yeah, I
cadre.
know. Tauri. Kamal Tauri.
Yes, Kamal Tauri. Now he has taken sannyas.
Where is he residing these days?
He is moving, sir. He doesn't have a permanent address. He travels all over India. I have his contact numbers. I will send it to you. And
Okay,
whenever he
okay.
comes, we
I
are
have met
spending
him. I
our,
have interacted with him, but so many years ago.
yes. And right now he is into this movement of Goshala, Pathshala, Rangashala, Vyayamshala. So he's greatly involved in Gram Swaraj activities.
Okay.
Uh, I will share his number with you. And now, ahimsa, non-violence, was a very fundamental principle of Bapuji, Satyagraha, Sarvodaya, Sarvodaya, welfare of all. Now we are talking, our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi is saying, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Bapuji said that long time back in Sarvodaya. Swadeshi and economic justice, he started that movement, which is continuing. In fact, India, in today's environment, is becoming a Vishwaguru in many areas, and we are world leaders. G20 summit was, as you know, held in Delhi, and India was the chairperson. The other area that he focused on was civil disobedience, which is still practicing very widely in Indian context. Next was religious harmony. Unfortunately, there are still stray episodes of religious disharmony that is taking place even today. I do not want to name the state or the persons, but it is still there. Decentralization of power. Gram Swaraj is the same thing. India has about over 600 plus districts. And now we are talking of district centered planning. Niti Aayog has now got indicators under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister. Now each district is making its own plan. So a lot of things which Bapuji said earlier as a visionary are taking place today. Environment, very challenging thing with climate change. You can see all the disasters that are taking place. 3 days back, Sir Pandey sir, there was flooding in Chennai, severe flooding. Professor Krishna Raj, you must be monitoring that. Chennai was flooded. Same thing
Yes, sir.
happened in Nagpur.
Yeah.
So we are experiencing that weather change. And educational rights, girl child education, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, that is continuing in a big way. Prohibition of untouchability. Unfortunately, I must say, with all distress, that even today it is being practiced. Our political system is such that it is caste based, and now they want to make a register of caste. There is a lot of controversy going on in these particular areas. Uh, Freedom of speech and expression that is going on still in India. Uh, I want to finally end with human rights as a moral imperative. The takeaway message from Bapuji is non-violence, equality, justice, and contemporary focus on human rights. So people don't believe that someone like Bapuji walked on this planet and such a legacy has spent. And I'm grateful, sir, that I had a chance to spare and associate my life with many of the people that have been involved in this struggle and take I sword for freedom from brain damage as my career path. Esteemed colleagues, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share with me my deep personal relationship with many aspects of Bapuji's dimension. Dhanyavad.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. It was very well deliberation covering all the aspects. Now, since we have lost the connection of Professor Narayan, he is in remote village. Now, I do request Pandey sir to present his views.
Okay. Uh, Respected Professor Narayan and respected Dr. Pandav Padmashri, Professor Krishan Raj, and other members of Society for Environment. Of course, we had a overview of Gandhian legacy and also of the important events uh, with which Dr. Pandav was closely associated. In fact, our association with Dr. Pandav, one can really, find and envision those times and those events. And we are really fortunate to have Dr. Pandav on the panel, who could share his deep association with Gandhiji and Gopal Krishna Gandhiji, and also how NHRC shaped over the years. So, today, you see, talking on human rights is most timely and most appropriate because 10th December is celebrated annually as Human Rights Day. And it was on this day that Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted by United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, in 1948. Now, the declaration, in fact, focuses on fundamental rights and liberties for all individuals, regardless of nationality, gender, ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, or religion. Article 1 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights reads as follows: all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Now, as Dr. Pandav remarked, Gandhiji was visionary, and his lifespan, that is from 1869 to 1941, 1948, before this declaration came, we had, all the teachings of Gandhiji and the ideals for which he stood for. We have, from his writings, we could find the strands of wisdom which have later been, penned down in terms of 30 and odd numbers of human rights aspects, and which, of course, in a way influenced the making of our constitution and drafting of it in terms of fundamental rights, and also in terms of directive principles of state policy. Now, there are various strands which I think I can recount quickly. Now, Gandhiji, as Dr. Pandav remarked, was an apostle of peace and non-violence, and therefore he is widely recognized as one of the greatest political and spiritual leaders of the 20th century on this planet. Gandhian concept of satyagraha, education, unity, truth, etc., relate to human rights. He always stood for love and brotherhood, freedom, justice, and equality. Also, service to community has been the core idea of Gandhian principle, because he thought that service to community is service to God, and therefore there is divinity behind it. Now, human rights could be classified in many ways, having various aspects like civil and political rights, social and cultural rights, collective rights, child rights, right to education, right against torture, etc., etc. So let me recount those. Now, civil and political rights, you can have recount the right of self determination, and for this, Gandhiji stood all his life. Right, prohibition of torture and and inhuman treatment. You will find Gandhiji uh, propagating these values in his thought, action, belief, prohibition of slavery and slave trade, right of prisoners to be treated with dignity, right of freedom of opinion and expression. All these aspects one can find very vividly expressed by Gandhiji in his writings, in his teachings, in his behavior, and his interaction with his colleagues and all those who visited him over a period of time. Then, of course, we can have social and cultural rights, which includes right to work, right to just and favorable conditions of work, right to adequate standard of living, right to education and physical and mental health. In fact, Gandhiji always thought that education is the most potent vehicle of empowerment, and without imparting right education to women, to children, we can't think of building a progressive society. Therefore, he always stressed on education being imparted to all. Then there are some collective rights, like as Dr. Pandav remarked, right to environment and right of indigenous people, women, children, and right of displaced laborers and workers. All these aspects always engaged the attention of Mahatma Gandhi. Then, as Dr. Pandav said, religious harmony. This was most central to Gandhiji's thinking, and he was a staunch holder of secularism, and he advocated people's right to profess, to practice, and to propagate the religion of their choice. And this is vividly uh, declared as one of the human rights by UNGA. Gandhiji always thought that love is the basis of friendship and love is the basis of our religion. As the bhajan Vaishnav Dan tu Tene Kahiye, which we listened to with rapt attention, also stresses this idea. Now, Gandhiji, of course, influenced our policies in such a way, particularly this right to free and compulsory education to children between the ages of 6 to 14 years, that earlier it was inculcated as one of the directive principles of state policy. This was Article 45 of directive principles, but later on it became one of the fundamental rights, and there was insertion in Article 21 of the Constitution of India. Article 21A was inserted, which said that free and compulsory education to people below, to children below 14 years of age is one of the fundamental rights. And we, of course, since then, we are following that. It was brought about by way of 86th Amendment to the Constitution in 2002, and it aims to provide all children between 6 and 14 years with free and mandatory and compulsory education. Gandhiji always stressed about imparting education to children, especially women and disadvantaged sections. because he thought that real change in India will come when women begin to affect the political discourse in the country. And it could be achieved only when women are literate, women have frequently fairly good understanding of the social order, the political order, and the problems which are besetting the country. Gandhiji always emphasized about right of children, the child rights, right to food, right to play games, right to enjoy health, and of course this all included right to survival, right to protection, right to development, and right to participation in associations, etc., etc. Now, if one thinks of what Gandhiji did about eradication of untouchability and ensuring human dignity to the individuals, one cannot find a parallel. He always stood for it, and human dignity, which is prominently mentioned as one of the 30 human rights by UNGA, of course, right to equality, freedom from discrimination, life, liberty, freedom from slavery, from torture, right to belief and religion, right to social order, community duties, right to desirable work, right to manage the family, and right to marriage, peaceful assembly, and so on. You think of any of these rights, and Gandhiji touched upon it, and he was much, much ahead of the times. Much before these rights were declared by United Nations General Assembly, Gandhiji has worked on each and every aspect of human rights. And of course, he influenced generations and generations. And as was aptly mentioned by Dr. Pandav, that Martin Luther King Jr. or Nelson Mandela and host of others, thinkers, political activists, and leaders were influenced by Gandhiji and his writings, and still Gandhiji and Gandhian ideals remain a force to reckon with, and our nation is fortunate enough to have Gandhian legacy and to see that our Prime Minister and the current dispensation is working very sincerely on achieving Gram Swaraj, on achieving universal education to all the children, and involving everyone by Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas. So, all this augurs well, and as Dr. Pandav said, we have no doubts in our minds that India, the way we have been proceeding ahead, will not only make its mark on spiritual arena, but also on economic arena, and be a beacon of hope for all persons on this globe. Of course, we have to do a lot, and as Robert Frost said, the woods are lovely, dark, and deep, but we have promises to keep and miles to go before we sleep, and miles to go before we sleep. So, thank you very much for providing me this wonderful opportunity to express a few ideas about Gandhiji and human rights. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Pandit sir. The views which you have said about the Dr. I would request Dr. Pandey sir, would you like to say a few words on the remarks of Pandey sir?
I think they were excellent and exemplary. Uh, I know one thing about IS training. In short words, you tell us a lot. I think that's a special training you get in Missouri.
Dr. Pandav, I took a cue from you only, and I'm thankful to you and grateful.
बहुत सुंदरता से बताया कि actually the real challenge is to tell a lot in few words. That's the beauty of especially the civil servants that I've met in my life. Incredible.
Mm.
They are known to write notes. When the minister asks for a decision, they'll give A or option B. So the answer to the question is already given either A or B, and it's done in a very small as the margin of the paper. So it becomes very nice and very easy for the minister to take the decision because they state the consequences. That if you do A, these are the consequences. If you do, these are the consequences. To me, this is a very rational way of taking decisions at the policy level. तो सर आप तो इतने सीनियर है आपका इतना अनुभव है मैं क्या बताऊँ आपके ऊपर
नहीं नहीं, मुझे आपसे देखिए, I know you as iodine man of the country. Iodine of deficiency, particularly in this area, has been very rampant, and even children and others have been affected, particularly in tribal areas. And ever since this effort and awareness generation has come up, I think people have improved their health standards, and still so many things to be done. But your pioneering effort, I mean, we should give full credit to you.
एक
Thanks,
कहावत
thanks.
याद आती है मुझे सर मुजफ्फरपुर की रैनी
हाँ,
रतवारा जहाँ गेग का बंटवारा रैनी रतवारा जहाँ गेग का बंटवारा मनिका मशहूरी जहाँ गेग की कचहरी
वाह, बहुत अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा।
नमस्कार
Well
नमस्कार
said.
नमस्कार, नमस्कार।
Thanks, Pando sir. You always present the things in a very good way, sir. The deliberation of Pandey sir was really good. As we all know that Gandhiji has remarked that duty well performed creates a corresponding right. So from our deliberation, we can at this point we can sum that duty is more important. We have to perform, and thereafter we can also talk about the rights. Now we have Professor Krishna Raj from ISEC Bangalore, and Krishna sir openly comes to our daily discussions, and we would request Professor Krishna sir to give his views on Mahatma Gandhi and human duties. Krishna sir.
Thank you, Shubhas, and respected Professor S. Narayan, Professor, Dr. Pandav, the iodine man of India, and the AS MN Pandeji. I think already the uh, both the experts on the topic of Gandhiji's philosophy, ideals, and principles. He has spoken in length, and nothing is left to speak about Gandhiji's uh, values, principles, and philosophy about human rights and duties. I just take clue from both of them, and I would like to summarize and elaborate on the same views expressed by both the experts. I am really impressed by both the lecturers, Dr. Pandav has given, and also Dr. M.N. Pandey. Dr. Pandav just mentioned about climate change. I'm really inspired and close to that topic. I have been working as an environmental economist. Recently, Niti Aayog has invited me to provide some suggestion on life economy. It is the global summit was conducted by RIS under the Ministry of External Affairs, and the government of India has taken a very good initiative to move towards protection of environment, protection of life, and protection of planet. So the Gandhiji's ideals are coming back to when I was, and he spoke Gandhiji long back. He understood that the nature, the Mother Earth, has its own limitations to fulfill all our greeds, but it can certainly fulfill our needs. So when he speak about this line, he's concerned about future generation. He was concerned about the planet Earth. It means that when nature provides all these services at free of cost, the humans, they depend solely on human nature, natural resources, and they use these natural resources for commercial purposes. For example, iodine uh, should have been provided at a free of cost because it secures the health of all the children, all the women, and all the people. So when Earth is providing all these resources in free, and everyone has got a duty to supply this one as free, even governments, and also the humans should not hoard it for commercial purpose. So the duties starts from not only mainly rights we have, but more importantly, uh, because of Dr. Pandav's duties to supply iodine to all the people in India, so the health is secured. So the duty discharged is more important than the rights we have on the as a human beings. So in this context, Gandhiji is more relevant for achieving sustainable development, and climate change is one of the uh, result of human greediness, and the duties we have certainly forgotten, and uh, uh, we the human beings, and they encroach the space of nature and exploited the nature and resulted in this present uh, atmosphere of environmental degradation, deforestation, pollution, climate change, and disasters. And humans have to face because they have forgotten their basic duties towards the constitution, towards the nation, towards the fellow citizens, towards the nature. So Gandhiji's ideals, if you talk about Gandhiji's ideals and principles, if you look at the Gandhiji's ideals, Gandhiji talks about the mainly few principles. First one is non-violence. Even though it talks about the non-violence, basically it teaches the human beings not to follow violence. It means that the duties of the people is that don't indulge themselves in violence. So one should practice non-violence. This is the basic and fundamental duties of the human beings. If you want to be a good human being, first you should practice non-violence, or you should not practice violence. So that is more important fundamental duty of the human being. So then if others are practicing, you should prevent that non-violence violence. So violence hurts the human rights and also hurts the human dignity. Therefore one should not indulge in violence against fellow human beings. And when you are following some ideals in human life, including truthfulness and simplicity, self-reliance and compassion, the non-violence does violence does not arise. If you truthful, if you are simple, if you are not greedy, and your self-reliance, you don't demand the services from others and exploit them, and one should have compassion towards fellow citizens, then the violence does not arise at all. So this is the fundamental duties the human should cherish and enjoy and also follow strictly. So in this way, Mahatma Gandhi's principles are very, very what you call it as fundamental to human welfare, fundamental to human existence, fundamental to a peaceful living. And if most of the things, violence and ill treatment of others, they are taking place because of greed. So if you reduce our accumulation of wealth, most of these violences can be controlled, can be mitigated, can be avoided. So therefore, Gandhiji's ideals are following non-violence itself is a major and basic duty of human beings, and that leads to coexistence, peaceful existence of human beings. So these ideals have been already Pandey sir has mentioned, carried, and even Pandey sir has mentioned, has been enshrined in the Human Declaration, United Nations Declarations on Human Rights, that has been adopted on this day, 10th December. If you look at the Gandhiji's philosophy further, Gandhiji's philosophy about life is man should enjoy freedom, and therefore he fought for the rights of the people through not only in India but also in Africa. He fought for freedom of the people, and they should have equal rights, and all things are very important for human life and a sense of life. He understood that people's rights were suppressed by the British. So therefore, he wanted to secure the rights of the people. He fought for the political, economical, and social freedom of people in India and South Africa. And he fought for even social causes like poverty and casteism, untouchability, and also freedom for women. Why these type of problems arise? Because we do not respect the fellow citizens or fellow brothers and sisters with equal rights, equal duties, and our we failed in our duties. Therefore these type of social ill or social conflict or economic conflict or political conflict arise. So we do not treat every our fellow citizen, our fellow Indians as equal. In this way, he influenced the people through his speeches, his ideals, his way of living. So he has written everything in his book, My Experiments with Truth, in his autobiography. So press people, they have asked, what is your message to the world, or with a message to the people? He simply said, my lifestyle or my life itself is a message to the world. So he talks about more duties than the rights. That needs to be understood in this context, because the government and the constitution has given every rights. So we are more aware of rights than our duties. That is the problem with the present world, even not only in India, everywhere. So we forgot the fundamental duties, and therefore all these conflicts, even geopolitical conflicts between Russia and Ukraine and other countries arise. And the main motto which is driving the world and the world communities is the greediness. So if we avoid this greediness, and we adapt to the simple life, most of these conflicts does not arise. For example, some nations they want to occupy the other lands, other countries' lands. That itself is a greediness. Some people, for example, in some states like Manipur, why they are fighting? This is mainly they don't understand the human duties and human rights. Because of these problems, they don't understand their life. So pain is a pain for everyone. And why they kill others, why they wound others? So they don't follow the duties, because they, if they follow non-violence, this type of problems does not arise. So therefore, even India is a country of diverse population, and so many caste people they are. And if they follow ideals of Gandhiji, the one ideal is that non-violence. That ideals carries lots of duties among the human beings. So that has been forgotten by every one of us. That is not being taught also properly. So we are taught only rights, but we are not taught about duties. The simple duty is that we have to respect each and every fellow citizens, fellow human beings. Then only we understand life. Otherwise, human life does not have fulfillment, understanding the what is life. So further, therefore, Gandhiji has inspired, as already Dr. Pandal sir and Pandey sir mentioned, many young generation, including Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela. They are the what you call it as harbingers of Mahatma Mahatma Gandhiji's principles, ideals. So they have used as a weapon, a tool to secure freedom for many citizens in USA and even in South Africa. So that shows that how the Gandhiji's ideals are very powerful even today. And but the world has failed to understand Gandhiji's ideals, and they we are going in a different directions. But the nature, as Professor sorry Pandav mentioned, the nature teaches us to understand our limitations. The COVID has taught already. The climate change is teaching every one of us. You have limitations. Don't cross the lines. Then only the duties we will understand towards the mother nature and also government. And he wants to secure the rights of people, and he launched major agitations against oppressive colonists in South Africa and India, and people were jailed for years without trials, without giving justice to them. So he fought for securing justice for the victims of the people. Human Rights Commission they were established. Pandav sir has mentioned even Venkatachalaya, so he was heading the Human Rights Commission in India, and they discharged duties to secure the rights and also rights of the weaker sections and voiceless people. Therefore, the Gandhiji's ideal, ahimsa or non-violence, if it is followed, there was no need for establishment of all these human rights commission. Therefore, understand ahimsa is the only way we can discharge duty as a human being, fundamental duty. Or I call it the non-violence should be the fundamental duty of every citizen. That is the first article of faith of everyone. One should not hurt. One should not malign the character of others. So, way, the Mahatma Gandhiji's way of thinking, way of ideals, the way of he was living should be understood. Then only we can build a peaceful world and peaceful harmony with nature. So he was very clear about rights. He said that rights cannot be achieved through rejection of duties. So we can't, rights comes along with the responsibilities, that is duties. You can't you can't you just cannot say that I should have only rights and I cannot have duties. So rights comes along with duties, responsibilities. So one cannot reject the duties when a citizen is enjoying his all the rights. So in this way, therefore he calls for empowerment of all the people, social empowerment, economic empowerment, and social justice for weaker sections, and against atrocities, exploitation, discrimination, and social disabilities, and also calls for political empowerment of weaker sections. So then the equal rights will be there, and responsibilities will also be there. So of late, not of late, but the all these principles were also incorporated in Indian Constitution. Especially the fundamental duties of the citizens uh, were added in the 51A of the section of Constitution. The fundamental duties, including abide by the Constitution, respect ideals and institutions, the national flag, the national anthem, to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so, to promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhood among us, all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, and regional and sectional diversities, to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture, to protect and improve the natural environment including forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures, to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and spirit of inquiry and reform, to safeguard public property and to abjure violence, to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. And also the duties of parents is that provide education to their children, don't send them to labor as a child labor, and they have to provide the education and up to 10th standard, up to 14 years. So this is how the human rights needs to be understood. The most important, the nation flourishes when we understand our duties first, not the rights. Rights comes when your rights are being violated. When you got all the freedom, when you are able to achieve something in your life, and your responsibility and duties, they play a more important role. What is your contribution to nation is more important than what nation has given to us as a duties, as a rights. So when India gives us the freedom of expression, the freedom to talk, freedom to do work, and freedom to be what do you call it as, explore all the possibilities to develop as a human being, then our duties should also be come in the same respect, same rigor, and the same with all the dutifulness to serve the nation, including the general public. When you have got some powers, that power should not hurt others, but to make them empowered, make them weaker sections empowered. That makes the Gandhian principles more valuably understood, and we can teach to other nations. So therefore, all duties should start with ahimsa or non-violence, and then only we can understand the duties of human beings. So I am happy and thankful to the SFE and S. Narayan sir and Subhash for giving me an opportunity to share a dais with such a eminent Gandhian, Dr. Pandav, and also the Pandey sir, and also S. Narayan. I am very small in front of you. Just I made some few observations out of my understanding. If anything is wrong, kindly forgive me. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very
Professor
much.
Krishna Raj, that has been very, what should I say, humble of you to have said so. Every word of yours is full of meaning and very relevant, and of course, the way you have expressed yourself as if you have lived through it and it has come from the core of your heart. We are very thankful for you for enriching us by your experience and by your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Sir,
much.
unmute, sir. Dr.
Yeah,
Pandav, sir,
now,
please unmute.
uh, am
Pandav,
I
sir, is
audible
saying,
now? Hello.
Pandav, sir, unmute.
Yeah, I just want to say that was an excellent contribution to today's topic. I liked for sharing with us the term life economy. You brought a new, I was not aware personally that now we are thinking of life economy. So thank you for bringing me up to date in terms of what's happening. I think your contribution as environment economist, it has just begun. You got a long way to go.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so much.
Pandey, sir, you are saying something.
No, I already remarked about that I really learnt a lot by what has been said by Professor Krishna Raj, particularly on this life economy aspect, and also if we are ignoring what nature signals to us, then we should be prepared to face the catastrophe which we see every day here and there, climate change and landslides and floods and famine and whatnot. So therefore we have to respect the signal which is thrown to our door by the mother nature, and if we do that, then of course we have done justice to what Gandhiji preached all his life and the values he stood for. So that's my final, comment.
Subhash? Subhash, are you hearing? I think they are disconnected. I think
So,
Subhash
Doctor
is not.
Doctor Pandav, your final comments, and then we wind up.
I think the four of us, Professor Narayan, yourself, Krishna Raj, and myself, we have done an excellent job in terms of. I was looking at the time. We spent 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Yes, yes.
Summarizing Bapu's contribution in 1 hour 15 minutes is a very challenging thing, and I think we have done
Correct.
justice to it. We have done justice in terms of bringing focus on the main things. Pandey sir, I liked your last poem, Robert Frost.
Correct.
We still have miles to go, but I want to
Yes,
say
yes.
that travel those miles with smiles. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for joining and taking this. Professor Krishnaraj, we have a question for you.
Yes, yes, please.
This is regarding this COP28 that's going on in Dubai. So
Uh,
COP28 environmental duties and human duties. How to make and move it forward?
Day before yesterday, I think my write-up in the Tribune has appeared that talks about the cops should have taken the discussion about the role of natural capital. See, we are talking about reducing greenhouse gases through curtailing the fossil fuels production and consumption. Of course, it is a good move, but more importantly, the nature has its own carrying capacity. It self adjusts. For example, the if you still reduce the fossil fuels, and at the same time you cut down the trees, you just cannot achieve net zero emission. Forests are more important, natural resources are more important to achieve net zero emission rather than myopic idea of controlling the fossil fuels or reducing the consumption of fossil fuels. Of course, they are very important, but more importantly, the world should think in the direction that afforestation and forest and rivers and the air and the minerals and the biodiversity, basically, that is more important. So we have to secure biodiversity, we have to secure natural capital, then only the man can survive on this planet Earth. Therefore, I think COP 28, their discussion was mostly confined to reducing the greenhouse gases through fossil fuels. That is the most myopic and restricted way of understanding the global climate change.
So you are saying that carbon offsetting, that is afforestation, plantation of trees, is more important than carbon credits that we want to create, the market which we want
Yes,
to create in near future. So
yes, yes,
it's well said, means it means that the human duties itself comes there. If
yes, yes,
afforestation and plantation comes, then Gandhian concept of this Sarvodaya, Gram Swaraj, there we have to focus.
yes, yes.
Now
Human
we
duties
have
first. Hmm.
yes, sir, please, sir.
Yeah, human duties and responsibilities after fulfilling all your needs by the nature. So you have a certain duties to discharge towards nature. First, you have to respect the nature, and second thing is that you should not exploit the nature for for the greediness. And third thing is that nature should be respected and nature should not be exploited, and more importantly, there should not be waste of resources. Even S Narayan sir was there, and Gandhiji's grand and granddaughter grand son was there. Arun Gandhi was saying, when Arun Gandhi was asking a new pencil from the Gandhiji, Gandhiji did not get the new pencil unless he brings back the old pencil. Then he says, when the Arun Gandhi brings back the old pencil, Gandhi suggested and told him that you still use this pencil for some more time. Then only I'll get you new pencil. So one should not waste the resources. One should not bring unnecessary resources under the era of capitalism, where mass consumerism, mass production is there, and we should limit ourselves to certain duties where we should respect the resources. So if we save some resources, that would be used for our only children in the future. For example, water. Water is highly scarce nowadays, and it should be preserved, protected, and also biodiversity, and also forest, and also minerals, many things.
Thanks, sir. Here I
Yes,
think Professor Dr. Pandav sir would like to say something. Sir,
yes, yes,
Just 2 points. The kind of way we have massacred nature so far, to bring it back to the same level, Professor Krishnaraj, would to cost $350 billion. $350
correct.
billion. That's number one.
Yes,
Number two, I met with Krushi Pradhan Govind Rao Pawar from Maharashtra. He has walked for 8 lakh kilometers, has planted 2 crore trees. What a fascination, what a major contribution. Govind Rao Pawar from Maharashtra. We need many such Govind Rao Pawars to bring it back to the normal level. And Krishna, that's where we'll have to, everybody
Yes.
will have to contribute. Each
Yes.
home, plant one tree, each home.
Correct, sir.
Right, sir. Right, sir.
Hey,
Here, yes, sir. We now have Professor Narayan. I think he's in a village, so it's Professor Narayan. Are you there?
Yes, I'm very much here.
Please sum up the program. Sorry, we missed you. So please sum up the program, sir.
I'm sorry that I could not hear about the program because of the technical difficulty. There was no net.
sir, speak louder and we are unable to hear you.
I'm sorry that I was not there in the program throughout because of the internet connections problem. Because the village is remote and the not covered always by the net section. Anyway, I'm very happy to hear Dr. Pandav and Dr. Krishna Raj and Sri N. Pandeji. Dr. Pandav is a pioneer and is known as Iodine Man. And Dr. Krishna Raj has made good contribution, well known to economic world, especially from the business point of view. His suggestions are very correct that we should be very clear about the duty and in protecting the nature's product whatsoever nature has given free of cost to us. That is our duty. And if we do not protect whatever we got in nature, then there will be a very devastating situation. All our knowledge will remain with us and we may not be able. That's why Gandhiji always chose the rural area, the difficult area where he did his experiments, like Satyagraha in Champaran, then Namak Satyagraha in Gujarat. Only those, he selected only those areas which were very poor, economically very poor, and not very climate. So he chose that and wanted to, then if you want to develop country, if you want the freedom for the country, you should make your duty for the rural population, for the people living in rural India. They are the real people who are making a lot of contribution and keep the culture, civilization, everything very live. So that was the approach of Gandhiji. But unfortunately, these days we forgot all the things which Gandhiji has appealed to the people, uh, like Satyagraha, like he just gave an example of what Gandhiji told his grandson, Arun Gandhiji. Like, there are many small things. As I mentioned in one of my discussions, that when Gandhiji started Satyagraha in Champaran, before starting, he went to each village which was possible for him to visit. And there was one house in one village where he came knock, but the door was not open. He was worried. Then next day morning, he mentioned it to all the people who were with him, and he went again to that house. He knocked the door, and the door was opened by a lady. He asked why you did not open the door yesterday. The lady said that we are two people and we have only one child. So if one goes out, then the other is unable to come in front of anybody. Gandhiji immediately threw his coat, gave his coat to that lady and the shirt and pants and started wearing those from evening time. it's not that he just wanted to produce it, but he just wanted to convey that you can live with minimum whatever nature has provided you. That conviction Gandhi also in bringing independence to the country, freedom to the country. So we need to adopt what Gandhiji talked about the beauty. We should not only talk about the human rights, but there is a commission for human rights for which, in which I was there for about 5 years. But there is no commission for human duties. Even in schools, there is no chapter from class in primary section that these are the duty you must do your duty. Then you ask for the rights. Even in family it happens so. So this is this, and I'm very much happy that today we had a good uh, celebration on Gandhiji and duty. And as you know, the Society for Empowerment will continue to have such programs in future also. And I'm equally thankful to all the viewers who are seeing the program because the viewers are, say,